the Lord, saints, and welcome back to another episode of the Urban Bible Podcast, where we talk about the Bible in a way that everybody can understand. So, again, we are moving right along into Genesis. We are now in chapter 38. Let me just say, this this is my favorite story of the Bible, only because this is like how you knew these people were on some trickery, right? These people are on some trickery. This how I knew that the people in the Bible were black because listen, it just sounds like something a black person would do. They couldn't have been. I mean, they might not have been Middle Eastern, but listen, it was some craziness going on. So chapter 38, we start with Judah, one of Jacob's sons. He left his brothers and he moved to Adullam, right? And he stayed with a man, and his name was Hira, actually. Hira. Let me say that right. He met a Canaanite woman there. She happened to be the daughter of a man named Shua, and he married her. So when he slept with her, she got pregnant and had him a son. They named the son Er, right? Er. She got pregnant again, and they had another son, and they named him Onan. Then she had a third son, and they named him Sheila, which, when they were all living in Kazib. She had Sheila when they were living in Kazid. So Judah found a nice little wife for Er, and her name was Tamar. Keep this in mind, right? But Er, which was Judah's firstborn son, was wicked in the Lord's sight. Like the Lord was like, "Bruh, you out here wilding. I don't even like how you move it." So the Lord killed him, knocked him off, like just took him on up out of here. Uh, yeah, took him on up out of here. So in their traditions, it was customary for the brother-in-law to have sex with their brother's widow in order to produce an offspring for their deceased brother. Crazy, crazy, but it was a requirement, right? So Judah told Onan, the next son in line, go sleep with your brother's wife so you can produce the heir for your brother as the law requires. Like, you telling me I got to go sleep with this woman that was with my husband, that was with my brother, so that I can produce an heir for him? I can't get no heir of my own? Like, the kid I have is going to be his and not mine? That don't make no kind of sense. It really don't make no kind of sense, actually, when you think about it, but that's what they were doing. But OG Onan, this is how I know. This is how I know, y'all. This is how I know. OG Onan, he knew that the baby wouldn't rightfully be his. So he did what he felt like he had to do. But he did like most men probably would do. He slept with Tamar, he did. But he pulled out. The Bible says he pulled out and the semen spilled on the ground. Man, listen. That's such a gangster move. That is such a gangster move if I ever have heard it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep with her, but I'm gonna pull out because nah, she not about to get my kids. I don't know why he did that, but that really teed the Lord off, right? And God considered it wicked, so he killed him too. Golly. Like, God is over here taking brothers out because y'all moving in a way that the Lord is not pleased with. But he took him out too. It never say like how God did it, but you can drop dead at any minute, right? But God took brother Air out. God took Onan out because he was pulling out. Like I used to always make a note in my Bible and put the pull out method was born. Oh, this story is so good to me. Anyway, Judah told Tamar, "Hey, go back to your family, go back to your parents' house, and when Sheila is older, then I'll come get you. I'll arrange for you to be married to him." But Judah was really shaking in his boots for real because he thought Sheila was gonna die like the other brothers, right? Like, no, he can't die. He was trying to look out for his youngest son because he looking at Tamar like, "Hey, you look like the Black Widow or something. All your husbands keep dying." Not because of her though. That's the crazy part. It wasn't because of her, but all her husbands, all the people that she slept with, kept dying. It's a lot in this story, child. It's a lot in this story. Anyway, she went back home to her daddy now, and she was just there. So many years later, Judah's wife, which was the daughter of Shua, had died. And, he had been grieving for her for a while. But when he got done grieving for her, him and his friend Hira, the Abdulite, Abdullamite, they were going to Timnah to shear their sheep, right? So somebody came up to Tamar and was like, hey, your father-in-law going to be over at Timnah shearing them sheep, right? So she was like, bet. She changed out of her widow's wear, is what I like to call it. Changed out of her widow's wear and put on a veil to disguise herself. So she set up camp over here at the entrance of Enam, right, which is on the way to Timnah, and she knew at this point that Sheila had to be old enough, right? He had to be old enough, but weren't no arrangements made, so she was taking matters into her own hands, if you want to be real. So Judah saw that she was sitting there and thought she was a prostitute. He didn't know it was her because, she had the veil on. She didn't have her widow's wear on. She ain't look nothing like the Tamar that he left years ago when all his other sons died, right? Not realizing it was her, he went over there to her and he was like, hey, what's up, girl? Come sleep with me. Come have sex with me. Because he thinks she a prostitute, right? So her playing the role, she was like, hey, what you gonna give me in return? Because this ain't free. This ain't free. So he was like, man, listen, I'm going to send you a young goat from my flock. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. Because, a young goat back then was a good chunk of change. But Tamar was really on a mission for real. And she was like, well, give me something as a guarantee that you're going to send it. Now, Judah was like, what kind of guarantee you need? Like, what you need? Like, I said I was going to send it. I'm going to send it. Ain't that how prostitutes work? I'm going to give you the money. But whatever. So she was like, listen, leave your identification seal and the cord that goes with it and your walking stick. Leave all of that. Leave all of that with me. And I'm going to give it back to you when I get that young goat. So he really wanted this. He really wanted this tail, I guess. So he gave this guarantee and he slept with her. And guess what? She got pregnant. Ooh, not your father-in-law getting you pregnant, girl. Thinking you're a prostitute. All right now. So when she went back home, she took off the veil and put back on her widow's wear because she was only playing the role for a limited time only. Meanwhile, Judah tried to send the young goat by his friend Hira, the Abdullamite, to get his stuff back. Like, hey, listen, go take that girl, this goat, and get my stuff back for me. So Hira go out there looking for her, and he can't find her. So then he start asking around, like, hey, any of y'all seen that shrine prostitute that was sitting on the road at Enam? And they were like, what? We ain't never had no prostitute there. And I don't know what was going through his head, but he went back to Judah and was like, listen, I couldn't find her. They said they ain't even had no prostitute there. And Judah was like, fine, let her keep it, whatever. It is what it is, because I'm not trying to become the laughing stock of the town. I'm not trying to become the laughing stock of the town. After all, I did try to go give that young goat to her, and we can find her. So she can keep it. It is what it is. So Judah let her go ahead and keep all this stuff she had, and he was like, "It is what it is at this point." So 3 months later, though, Judah hears that Tamar been prostituting herself out here, and now she's pregnant. The irony. Judah's like, "Bring her here right now. Bring her to me right now. She will be burned to death because she shouldn't be out here prostituting when she a widow. She better be mourning. Like, both my sons died. Anyway, when they were about to kill her, she pulled them cards, right? She pulled that good checkmate and was like, listen, I'm pregnant by the man who owned these things. And she was like, look at them. Look at the seal, look at the cord, and look at that staff closely. Who you think they belong to? Who you think they belong to? Look and see who they look whose they are, all right? Judah recognized they were his, and he was like, she's more righteous than me because I didn't arrange for her to marry Sheila. And from that point on, he ain't sleep with her no more. I mean, I don't think he would have slept with her anyway, but she was covered up, or whatever. Anyway, so when Tamar found out um, that she was giving birth, she found out she was having twins, which is crazy. Like when it was time for her to give birth, she found out she was having twins. So while she was in labor, one of the babies stuck their hands out, and the midwife tied a little scarlet string around it, right? A little ribbon or whatever, to signify that was going to be the firstborn. She was like, okay, this is your firstborn baby. However, he pulled his hand back in, and the other child came out first. That's crazy. The midwife was like, how did you break out first? Asking the little baby. So she named him Perez, which means breaking out in Hebrew. Then, with the one with the scarlet ribbon tied around its wrist, she named him Zera. Zera, something like that. It means scarlet or brightness. Y'all, this girl got pregnant and had twins by her father-in-law. The trickery. The trickery. What is happening? All right, so moving right on along to chapter 39. Now, we back on Joseph, right? Y'all remember he got sold to Potiphar or whatever. Now, Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian, and one of Pharaoh's officials, who was the captain of the guard, brought him from the Midianite traders. You remember? Anyway, the Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered as he lived with his Egyptian master, right? Joseph found favor in Potiphar's eyes because he realized that the Lord was with him. Anybody that's had the Lord with them, they out here doing the thing, okay? They out here living life. They out here prospering. They out here successful, all of that. But Potiphar realized that the Lord was with him and that Joseph was successful in everything that he did. So Potiphar put him in charge of his household and everything that he owned. Ever since Joseph was put in charge of Potiphar's household and belongings, the Lord had blessed the household of for Joseph's sake, right? Like kind of like they were doing when they were blessing Laban's house because Jacob was there. Yeah, the Lord was blessing Potiphar's house because of Joseph. And everything in the house ran smoothly. His crops were flourishing. His flocks were flourishing. It was good. Everything was going so good, right? He left Joseph in charge of everything. He didn't have to worry about nothing except for what he wanted to eat. Just tell me, sir, and I got you. Mind you, Joseph was very handsome because you remember when he was sold, he was 17. He probably about 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there right now. So Joseph was very handsome and he was very well built. He muscular, he worked out or whatever. He had a nice little physique. So one day, Potiphar's wife tried to make a move on Joseph and she tried to sleep with him. She was like, come sleep with me, handsome. I can just imagine, come sleep with me, handsome. However, Joseph wasn't no dummy and he refused all of her advances, right? So he was like, listen, my master trusts me with everything in this household. I'm the top dog around this place, right? I'm the top dog in charge. He ain't withheld nothing from me except for you because you his wife. So how can I do something that low down and sin against God? Like that ain't even my character. I can't even do that. But she tried to convince Joseph every day in, day out. Hey, come sleep with me, handsome. Hey, you looking real good today, Joseph. I see you working hard out here in the house, Joseph. I can just imagine. But she tried to convince him every day, and he kept telling her no. You got to tell him no. Cat Williams said, you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. So he tried to avoid her in the house at all costs. Mind you, I can imagine them having big houses, right? I'm gonna stay on this side because I know she over there. If she come over here, I'm going over there. Like I gotta stay away from her. But one day he went in the house to do his job and went no other servants there. Nobody was there except for the wife. Crazy. So she grabbed his cloak and was like, come sleep with me, Joseph. But he ran out, but left his cloak in her hand. Boy, you got to be more careful. You got to be more careful. So when she saw that he had left his cloak, she called for the other household servants. I don't know where they were at, but she called for him and was like, look, That Hebrew slave that my husband brought in here tried to sleep with me, but when I screamed, he ran out. But he left his cloak behind. Girl, the trickery. The trickery, if I do say so myself. Ugh. So she kept the cloak until Potiphar got home. So when he got home, she told her husband that same tired lie. That Hebrew boy you brought in here tried to sleep with me, but as soon as I started screaming, he ran out and left his cloak behind. Listen, I don't know why Potiphar believed his wife, but Potiphar believed his wife. I mean, I guess I would understand because I would believe Michael over anybody else. But anyway, Potiphar believed his wife and was pissed. I mean, he was big mad. So when he heard his wife's story and how Joseph had treated her, he threw Joseph in prison where the king's prisoners were kept, and he stayed there. That's crazy. But never fear, because the Lord was with him and granted him favor with the prison warden. That's how you know. That's how you know. Mind you, Joseph had been sold and thrown into prison, both for being misunderstood. Like they did not understand Joseph, and they could not see from his point of view how things really were. And so, like, he's always gotten the short end of the stick. It seems like each and every time he's gotten the short end of the stick, and it's like Joseph can't catch a break at this point. Like, you out here doing your best. You out here living right. You out here doing everything that you know to do. You out here reverencing God. You out here serving in your church. You out here doing whatever. But it still seems like the world is against you. Life is against you. Circumstances are against you. Like, I can only imagine. But, well, actually, I've been there. So I know what it's like. But when you try your best, I feel like when you try your best, that's when things start to like hit you all of a sudden, like out of nowhere. Cause Joseph didn't know when he went in there to work that day that the wife was gonna lie on him and he was gonna get thrown in prison. Like he wasn't doing nothing wrong. Anyway, the warden soon put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that had happened in the prison. Like you running a show around here, buddy. The warden didn't worry about anything that was in Joseph's care because the Lord was with him and caused him to succeed in everything he did. Listen, Joseph was a natural leader and thrived in all the assignments. In each situation that he was put in, he thrived because he was a leader and God blessed him to be a leader. So, whatever God blessed you with, whatever God has blessed you to do, you're going to thrive regardless of what the situation looks like, regardless of what happens. Like, you could be working in as a custodian, mind you, my husband currently is a custodian. But he sits here and he ministers to people on a regular, not by the words that he says, but by his actions. His actions speak louder than anything else. His kindness, his humility, all of that speaks so much volume, right? And it's like wherever you are, you can do the work of the Lord, despite what the situations that you end up in because of some other people, right? Because really, it was from some other people. But he found favor with God, and he was in the right position despite the actions of others that landed him there, and he still thrived. How many of us can say that we're in some of these positions because of somebody else's missteps, somebody else's actions? I remember telling one of my clients, like, hey, you're only in this situation because of somebody else's actions that you have no control over. You have no control over them. But I encourage them to make the best of their situation and still continue to trust God, because at the end of the day, God gonna be God and vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So He's gonna repay everything bad that has ever been done. Know that. Know that God is gonna repay everything bad that was ever done. But I say all this to say, like, whatever God has blessed you to do, whatever God has graced you to do, whatever God has gifted you to do that wherever you are. Even if you are in some unfortunate circumstances, do what God is asking you to do. And you're going to succeed. As long as you stick with God, you're going to succeed, whether you're in the palace or whether you're in the prison, whether you're in the pit or whether you're in a prison or in a palace, wherever you are. Just do what God is asking you to do. Lean on God. Really lean on Him for your support, because that's really what you need. Everything else is only temporary. Everything else is temporary. Your situation is temporary, but God is everlasting. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So just know that if you stick with God, you're going to be all right and you're going to thrive. And it might not seem like you're thriving to other people because your funds might be low. But just because your funds are low, your health is good. your health is good. As long as your health is good and you're still living, you can still have an opportunity to walk into every blessing, every situation, every positive situation, every blessed situation that God has for you. So just keep leaning on God and doing what He asks you to do and find favor with God, because that is how you succeed in life in general. All right, y'all. We are now in chapter 40. So, of course, Joseph is still in prison. And sometime later, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer or cup holder and his chief baker offended him. So Pharaoh got mad and put them in the prison that Joseph was in at the palace of the captain of the guard, right? Mind you, Potiphar was the captain of the guard, top flight security. All right. So they stayed in prison for a good long time, right? And they were assigned to Joseph by the captain of the guard, and he took care of them, right? While they were in prison, each of them had a dream on the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. That's crazy, ain't it? So when Joseph came the next morning, he realized that they were looking real upset. Like they looking like they done lost their best friend. They worried. They don't know what's going on. So he was like, "Hey, what's wrong with y'all today? Y'all good? What's happening?" So they told him, "Listen, we both had dreams, and we don't know nobody that can interpret them." And Joseph was like, "Hey, ain't interpreting dreams God's work, man? What was y'all's dream about? Tell me about it. What was y'all's dream?" So the chief cupbearer or the cup holder told Joseph his dream. He said, "Listen, in my dream, there was a vine in front of me and it had three branches. As soon as it started to blossom a little bit, it produced clusters of ripe grapes. Now, I had Pharaoh's cup in my hand. I had Pharaoh's cup in my hand and I was squeezing them grapes into the cup. And then I put it in the Pharaoh's hand." Joseph was like, "All right, this is what it means. Them three branches, they represent 3 days. So in the next 3 days, Pharaoh gonna lift you up and restore you back to your position as the chief cupbearer. You gonna be holding cups, sir. You about to be back holding cups. You good." So Joseph was like, "Hey, but listen, when all goes well for you and everything start to pan out for you, please remember me. Do me a favor and mention me to Pharaoh so I can get up out this place, because I'm tired of being up here. Like, I was kidnapped from my hometown, and which is the land of the Hebrews. And now I'm over here in prison, and I ain't even done nothing wrong. Like, I just keep ending up in these situations. I ain't never done nothing, boy. Like, what is going on?" So when the chief baker saw that Joseph had gave the cupbearer a favorable interpretation of his dream, he was like, "All right, let me tell you my dream." So he was like, "Listen, I had a dream too. And in my dream, there were three baskets of bread on my head. The top basket had all kinds of baked goods in it, all kinds of goodies in it for Pharaoh. But the birds, man, the birds was out here eating out of the basket on my head. Like, what in the world?" Joseph was like, "Okay, let me tell you what your dream means. Them three baskets, they represent 3 days too. But in the next 3 days, Pharaoh gonna lift you up and he gonna impale your body on a pole. Like, he about to put you on the top of the pole. Like, you about to be, you done. You're done. And them birds, they're coming to eat away your flesh. They about to tear all your flesh off." Boy, I could not imagine getting a dream interpretation like that. Yeah, the birds about to eat your flesh. The birds about to stay away from me. So now 3 days had gone by, and guess what it was? It was Pharaoh's birthday. And so to celebrate, he had a big old party for him and all his servants, all his officials, everybody that was under him. He had a big old party for everybody, right? So he called for the chief cupbearer and the chief baker to come on up to join everybody else. Like, y'all come to the party too. Come on over here with us. But Pharaoh impaled. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position. So he went back to holding Pharaoh's cup, handing Pharaoh his cup, whatever. But Pharaoh impaled that chief baker for real. Just like Joseph said when he interpreted that dream. Like, Joseph didn't miss, all right? He did not miss. And Pharaoh's cupbearer, however, he back in his position now. He done forgot all about Joseph. Didn't think twice about Joseph. You back where you want to be now. Now you done forgot about the people that help you get there, right? You done forgot about where you were supposed to be, and now you back where you were, like where you want to be, and you forgot about the people who helped you get there. You forgot about the little people who helped you along the way. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't forget about the little people because you where you want to be now. Remember them people. That's why they always tell you, don't forget about us little people when you get rich or famous or whatever, because people tend to forget what you've done for them when they're on their rise to success. But it is what it is. That's it, y'all. That's it for today's episode. Hey, that's another episode in the books, y'all. And listen, I appreciate y'all for coming along for this ride with me in today's episode and the trickery that we endured in this episode. I really do appreciate y'all. I really do love and thank God for any and everybody that listens to this podcast because again, I'm doing it for him. And it's really for me. Honestly, it's really for me. It's really about me building consistency and making sure that I'm studying my word and understanding the word in the way that he's trying to give it to me. But listen, as always, I pray that something that was said prompts you to get into your word. Don't mind Preston in the background because he in the background. But I appreciate y'all. I just pray that something that was said prompts you to get into your word and pushes you into a deeper relationship with God because that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. That's the only reason why we're here is for y'all to get closer to the Lord, for me to get closer to the Lord. We want to be so close to God that nobody else can find us unless they come to the Lord. Amen. But again, y'all can also send me any prayer requests at theurbanbiblepod@gmail.com. I love y'all. I love it here. I love this journey that we are on, and I cannot wait for this next episode. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And yeah, we're going to talk to you in this next episode. I love y'all. Bye.